In this episode, the Two Business Guys Mastermind on what to do when your business wants to break up with you. Enjoy. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. John, I want to talk about how, to me, businesses are like relationships. And if you ignore them, they will break up with you. Right. So, hey, everybody, on today's show, we're going to be talking about the attention that we have to pay to our businesses in order for them to survive. And I decided to go ahead and use the relationship analogy. And most of you have had some relationships, and you've had probably some successful ones and some ones that didn't work out so well. And there might be a reason, right? So if we ping off of that, John, I think we can have a really good time and again, in our series, we love to talk about how, when we spin up a business, when you start a business, you just can't float that balloon and just leave it out there, right? So you attracted the person that you're in a relationship with, and all of a sudden you're going to just ignore them, right? They got all excited about you. You had good game. Your rap was strong, and next thing you know, they don't see you, right? Or you're running off to the next new business, right? So we understand that becomes a difficult situation for the relationship. You starve it. So, John, what do we need to tell our entrepreneurs about the businesses that they start in the relationship kind of terms?
Yeah, I think the most important aspect is time. Excuse me. How are you spending your time? And we look at relationships within our lives, and when our relationships are struggling, oftentimes it's because we're not focused on spending quality time with one another. And it's the same thing within your business. It's not just about having your business open. That would be like me having a relationship but never, doing anything or working on the relationship. Well, once you attract the person that you're in the relationship with, you don't stop there. I mean, it's you continue to do things to be able to advance the relationship. The same thing is true within a business. Um, if you don't work the business, you're essentially not working on the relationship. That in and it goes back to that communication piece where, how much time are we spending in that business? And I'm not talking about, you know, having a website presence and saying, oh, well, I have a website presence. That's like saying I have a relationship, but, we never talk.
Right.
Um, and so how much, what are you doing in conjunction with that? When we have a relationship and whatnot, we go on dates. We talk to one another. We share things about ourselves. And in a business, what this is um, us trying different things, us working the business to see, are we connecting with the customers that we intended to connect with? Um, it's not just throwing the ball out there. And the funny thing is, I had kind of a conversation with a person this week, semi conversation. They didn't really have a conversation with me. They just said, "Hey, I'm done with business," and it was like,
I'm
"Hey,
breaking up with the relationship. I'm breaking
yeah,
up.
it's like, hold up, you went into business 2 months ago, and you made a couple phone calls and sent a couple emails, and now you're done because it's not working the way that you expected it to." Well, you didn't do anything. You didn't put
Right.
anything behind it. It's like not putting effort behind it. When you care about something, when you're passionate, um, and this is a piece of you, then you devote the time that's needed into it, regardless on what's going on out there. And you alluded to earlier when you just started this conversation, you alluded to the fact that the next shiny thing is that individual that's taking your eye off of the relationship that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like cheating. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Cheating. Exactly.
it's
Cheating on your business.
cheating on your business, jumping from relationship to relationship if you're looking at it like that. But if you're if you're not intentional, and we've used that word so many times over the past year, intentional, and that's what it boils down to. Are you intentionally doing the things that you need to do in order to make that successful? Because none of us expect to have a successful relationship, a successful marriage, or whatnot if we never you know have dates or call the person that we're seeing
That's
on the
it.
phone. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Spending that time being vulnerable, putting yourself in situations that may not be comfortable. Same thing is true in business. You're going to put yourself in positions. This gentleman who I had the conversation with, he was upset because business wasn't going the way that he wanted. Um, and honestly, why would business go the way? Did he just expect the business to serve him in every way without him doing anything?
That's
That's kind
it.
of like
The
having a
idea.
relationship and saying, hey, you're here only for my pleasure and I'm not going to reciprocate. You know what I mean?
Idea does not a business make. I was saying that probably about a week ago. I was on a walk and I says, business does not a business. And you heard that term before, how they say it, like business model is not, or business is not a something. I can't remember how I put it, but this, I was thinking about it in those kind of terms, right? I was thinking, idea is not a business model make or something like that, right? It's the idea is one thing, right? And you get all fired up about it and you kind of go, okay, this may have some legs to it. And then the modeling part of it, when you can look and say, all right, here are the systems that are going to go into this thing. Well, I've always said this personally, and people that have seen some of my work out there, that I look at most everything from the lens of business. I just believe the components can be applied, right? So I use business principles for personal development, right? I use business principles in a lot of different areas because you start thinking about it. If it is poured into, something comes out. Now in business, it's money. In relationships, oftentimes it's love and adoration. So the very things that you want, right? If you just put a principle to them and then a style and a system, right? You can get out of it that thing that you want, right? And when I needed to personally develop, when I needed to reinvent myself from, this person over here working in a manufacturing situation,
Mhm.
and that now needed to go into a new environment, nonprofit, right? How did I personally develop? So you look at it like a startup business, and what do I need to pour in? Well, I need to go ahead and get some education around this. I need to understand who my customers are. I need to understand who my stakeholders are. And then I need to understand what I'm bringing to it as a value.
Mhm.
And that's against other things, other people, other interests, right? So you look at it from the principle standpoint and you go, wait a minute, I can apply this in so many different ways over here. So when we start these businesses up, to your the guy you were talking to standpoint, and then we say, well, I put no metrics around it. I put no systems. In other words, I've said, I've got this idea and I kind of know what the business model is. I kind of know the niche. Um, then you do no spreadsheet that says, well, in order to get out of it, my expectations, right? It could be, hey, I need to make 5 G's a month. I need to make 10 G's a month. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, let's see what 10 G's a month, 5 G's a month looks like in terms of the work. Well, here's the work. You need to sell this much of that service product. It doesn't matter what it is, online, offline, the digital real estate, the on ground real estate, whatever. What did you just put into it that then every month you can go and says, I expect something of you? This is where I think oftentimes, John, people are missing the boat, and they're looking at this thing like, I think it's going to break up with me soon. Well, yeah, it's going to fire you because you're not putting the necessary things into it. Okay. So when I think as I started thinking about, my own businesses, and I says, at times your attention is on too many things and it's not going deep into other things, right? That's the time we talk about the spinning plates, right? Too many spinning plates. And if you got too many spinning plates and you're not a plate spinner, then you can expect some to crash. So don't be mad when they do, right? Just don't be mad. So we apply those principles to business. We go, well, gee, I'm running after this and the other. That's good, right? No, that's just activity, right? You're going wide, but not deep. Well, what's wrong with going wide? You got a lot of interest. There's a lot of things. You dip your toe. Well, yeah, you dip your toe, but guess what? You don't swim dipping toes. You never, and I'm using just mixing all kind of metaphors, but I think it's relative, right? And I just started saying, what if we, instead of having a whole bunch of relationships, we just got married, right? And those analogies, right? What if we just went deep?
You
Getting
know who
married is
uses
going
that
deep,
same analogy, right?
huh?
You know who uses that same analogy?
Who?
Chris Mathis,
Mm.
where he
No.
talks about dating
Oh
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. I've done some events with Chris. Yeah, we talk about, hey, you can date, but I used to say that a lot, and this is before I met Chris, about you can't expect a kiss when you go on a date. The first date, when you just pick them up, right? Maybe if things go well, buy some dinners, then maybe you can say, hey, how would you like to end this date? Would you like to end it with a kiss, right? But you can't just show up, get out the car, and says, give me a kiss. No, that's like, hey man, get out of here, or hey lady, get out of here. It's too early. So you got to romance your business. Same concept. Romance the business. And we understand that just like anything, relationships get deep, they get long. You're 18, 20 years in, and you're bored. You're looking over at the business and going, you've changed. But you have too, your expectations for it. So that might be the time that you say, instead of dumping the business, Bill Gates, Jeff
oh,
Bezos,
oh,
instead
oh
of dumping the
man.
business that has done so much for you, maybe it's time to, reinvent the business, pull out pieces, do different things, bring different components to it, spin a couple more plates that the business would be pleased to be spinning. Those kind of things, right? I think it's just so, um, it's worthy of your time. Business is worthy of your talents. But at the same time, John, it's like with the relationship, you got to know who you're bringing to this relationship to, right? Who are you in the business, right? Are you the promiscuous person in the business that's always going to be running around, you know, uh, uh, perhaps bringing bad things back to the business, bugs and stuff,
Mhm.
right? That kind of thing. Or are you the person in the business that knows how to concentrate when necessary, know how to give it time to breathe, space, right? Cultivate the business, let it grow up in its own way. All these kind of parallels, but we don't see a lot of that, John. Like you said, last week we talked about open sesame money. Open sesame money. Hey, you come to it, you start this thing, you go, where's all the money? Well, it doesn't work that way, bro. You got to pull the handle. There is no open sesame. You got to do some work. And that's what I'm not seeing with a lot of entrepreneurs out there. We wanted to talk with you guys about that. Why are you expecting so much for doing so little? Where'd that come from? Parents, right? We gave them too much. So in the business, what are you doing? What are you giving too much of and, expecting too much? Or what are you expecting too much of and not giving in return? So I'm curious about your friend or who you're talking to. What were you able to see why the business wasn't doing well, or was it just it was unevenly yoked, as they say in religious circles, right? You just hooked up with the wrong person.
Yeah, I think from clearly this advantage of stance that I have, I think that what it was obvious from the beginning. Gentleman wasn't going to put the time and effort into working the business.
Mhm.
Thought that, hey, I just expect this to work without me really having to do anything. And if I have to work too hard, then it's not worth it. Um, and working too hard means making a couple phone calls or sending a couple emails or whatnot, because this business wasn't worked at all. And I actually gave uh, a couple cherries to the individual saying, hey, this individual wants this product. Here's their name, here's their telephone number, their details. Uh, Contact them. They want the product. And the gentleman couldn't close it. Well, he didn't close it because he didn't follow up. And we have to understand that it
Didn't follow up.
right. When you don't, you have to work leads. It's not just about one contact, no, or hey, you know what? I can we look at changing it this way? And I'm not flexible and saying, no, we can't do that. Absolutely not. Uh, that's not how business works. Business is a dance. It's a give and take. You have to work the business. You have to be willing to go out there and feel uncomfortable on the dance floor, even if you're not a good dancer. Um, and this individual was not willing to do that. And it was
Key.
frustrating, very frustrating, very, very frustrating. Um,
That's so key, John. It's so key. I've been listening to a lot of entrepreneurs, helping them with their pitches for a contest that's coming up. And there's something that's striking me. And again, this is why we do this, right? This is why we come on and do, the mastermind when we try to solve some of our own problems, right? When in our own businesses, but at the same time, we like to use our experiences to help people that are starting up, people that are, in the middle of their business, or people thinking about walking away from it. And it is really, really coming down to one thing that I've been able to identify. And that is, and this is what I've been asking this question: will you do the work? Will you do the work that the business is asking of you? The work. You just alluded to it. The work. I won't follow up. That's the work. I won't do some things that we believe will be successful for our business. I'll give you an example. I was doing a consulting with a gentleman last night, and he'd read all the books, seen all the things. I could tell him about a book in a specific space. Oh yeah, I read that. Have you done the work? Well, oh, man, I've moved on to something else. All right. Oh, and I reminded him. I says, let me show you how you can get immediate leads. Immediate leads. All right. And so I took him over to his LinkedIn page. Immediate leads. Boom, like that. Took him over to his LinkedIn page. And I took him through a couple of things. This is how you can get all of the context in your LinkedIn from your LinkedIn page. This is how you can do it right now. Walked them through it. Didn't say, okay, go over there, do this. I said, nope, let's go over to your page right now. Click here, click that, hit that. You've got 8,000 leads. And he had a lot of people in his LinkedIn. 8,000. And he was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I knew about that. I forgot about that. So in one sense, I'm saying, I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're going to walk through, and this is some of the stuff that I do when I'm helping people in the business. I'll say, okay, let's do this. And then the second thing and the second part of this, I says, okay, now 8,000 leads you have created. I helped them create the digital product, helped them create the funnels, all this kind of stuff. And I says, now send this information to them. Oh, I'm worried. Now he starts getting worried. Well, I'm worried that there won't be, interest. I said, well, the first thing is that they're all on your LinkedIn page. So you start with that conversation. So it's not fresh. You're not just rolling up to the house and saying, hey, let's go on a date. And they said, I don't know you. Right. If we bring, I don't know you. Well, you've seen me at school, haven't you? What school? Right. You can't do that. So at least you can say, hey, we go to the same school. In other words, you're on my LinkedIn page. So I just wanted to say that there's something coming up, and I wanted to maybe be the first or a couple, second to ask you to this dance. I don't know, whatever it is, right? So, and that's what I did. I says, well, that's the one thing you got in common. They're on your LinkedIn page. You can start off with that conversation. And I said that conversation could then lead to, hey, look, this is something I put together. It might not be for you, but maybe you can. I says, now that's an immediate 8,000. It was a lot. It was a lot. 8,000 leads, right? And I said, so now the job is to find out what they like. And then there's some ways to do that, right? Hey, I'm going to send them an automated message for the next 15 days. You can go to your email capture system and do that. You see what I mean? So will you do the work? Here's the thing. And what we do, I meet with them every week. And I says, here's your homework for the week. And we were doing some other stuff. I was showing them how to run some specific ads to specific groups on one end. So had 3 things doing, but all concentratable, right? We're going to just focus on them. So he had 4 relationships, but we're just going to concentrate on these. But those relationships could be like family members. I have my wife, my kids, right? My friends, you see what I mean? So how do I spend time with each one of them without making each jealous, if you will? Well, you concentrate. I said, so this week, do just this. Just concentrate on this. And now we have automated tools that we can just listen. We're going to just put it together and let it run. Automated, right? That's like setting date night or whatever it is. Hey, this happens. This is happening every day. And my wife and I have date time every night, right? From 9 to 11 is our time. So that's taken care of. Bam. Right now, the question becomes on these other areas, we're going to be running ads. I said, so now there's so many different things you can do. You could take the same 8,000, we load them up into our Google program, right? And then we make sure that ads or Facebook runs to them. So you see my point? So the next week, if we get down to it and they haven't done the work, then that tells you a story. Will you do the work that's necessary?
So really quick, Randy,
Mhm.
you had talked about this LinkedIn. Can you run us through like a 2-second, I mean not 2-second, maybe 30-second tutorial on how we do that?
Absolutely. So one of the things you want to do without even popping it up on screen is you go into your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Now, if you don't have LinkedIn and you're listening to this and you're in business, well, you know what? You're doing your business a disservice. Your whole job in life is to make sure you got leads and contacts so that your business can eat and breathe. You go to your LinkedIn page, and I'm just gonna off the top of my head, I had it in front of me at the yesterday. You hit your contacts, you go to or at the top it'll say I want to say it says my group or something, my connections, right? You click that button. All right, now this is paid version or free version. If you got the paid version, another situation. But you then click into an area where it says I want to say my connections. I should pull it up here. My connections. Then there's a couple other buttons that you have to push that gets you to a area where it says export my connections and contacts, my Yeah. Contacts and connections that you've brought into your business or contacts that you've made, right? So understand this, everybody. They're right there for you. And this,
Mm,
I think LinkedIn had gotten rid of that function for a long time, or they did something, right? Because I don't know, people were getting spammed or something. But once you do that, you then export it, download it, right? Sometimes you have, depending on how many people you have in and what plan you're on, it'll do it almost immediately or in 10 minutes. Now mine was like, well, in 24 hours, we will send it to you. And it's like, these are in this one area where people are expecting business to happen. This is the key thing. This is not like going to Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but this is where you're expecting business to happen. The point is, go to your profile, click on that, then hit to your contacts, go over to, it's a couple other buttons that you have to push, right? You click on this. What, because you can download all of your old articles. You can do all kinds of stuff, right? And then you go over there and hit two buttons that say contacts and imported connections and imported contacts, right? And then you click the button that says to have them, basically, curate it all together for you, and then they'll tell you when it's ready. 24 hours typically, right? And in some cases, immediately. So now you have all of those contacts. These are people that you've connected with. That's your job, right? That's the work. When you are now going out there and you've started your business, it's your job to then attract other businesses and or potential businesses. So that's what you're accumulating. Whether you're going out there and every single day trying to find someone that is, you believe would be a good potential lead and or somebody you might be able to help, for your business. And imagine if you did that, John. Imagine if you concentrated on that for 8 hours a day.
mm,
This is what I'm finding, the work part. People start your businesses, but then they don't apply the same type of stuff as if they were working a job. They won't put 40 hours into their business. I ask people all the time, what are you doing in your business right now, for your business? Oh, well, I'm gonna start at 1. Okay. You're gonna start at 1. How long is that gonna go? Oh shoot, I gotta stop at 3. I gotta go pick up little Johnny. Oh, okay. You started at 1, you gotta leave at 3. Yeah, that's just the way it went. I slept late. If you were at the job, if you did that, you'd be fired. So, one of the things I wrote down on my notes is, should your business fire you? Should it fire you? And if you're treating it like a relationship, should the relationship leave you? Yes. The relationship is not going to stand with you not putting attention into it, right? If you're not, in this case, we were talking about LinkedIn, if you're not going out and bringing back things that might help it, enrich it, help it grow, help it keep remain interesting by doing these things, by going on LinkedIn, to going all these different groups or whatever it is, you are now seeding it with opportunity to grow a nice little, I'm just mixing metaphors badly, but grow a nice little garden here, right? Because you brought other things in that now make it interesting. And if it's really interesting, people come around and go, hey, can I have that? Can I, get those tomatoes? Can I get a little bit of those strawberries? Because you've done something interesting, right? This is how, when we think about the work that you need to put in, this is what is a part of that. Because people don't know what to do sometimes.
mhm.
So, and I go, of course, John, we can go deeper into this if you want to, contact us and have us show you and walk you through that process. I'll go ahead and help. We can spin up a video, I'll create a video and show you how you can do it. And it's so simple. And now you got, in this guy that I was helping the case, I says, you got 8,000 leads that you now put into your automated marketing system, whether it's MailChimp or whoever it is, and start talking to them.
Mm,
Right? I said they might not buy right away because, hey, I know we're part of LinkedIn. I know you're on my, I've said yes to you. Some may spin off. I says, hey, listen, tell them. So there's some language and things, John. We go into it yesterday because this is what we do. Part of the coaching program that he's paid for and he comes into. So it's like I says, you want the ones that aren't for you to go away. I says the vanity metric is, oh, I got 8,000 people here. All of them are going to love me and want my stuff. No, they're not. Your job is to find out what they like. And what can you do? Deeper analysis within LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Look at their profile, for goodness sake. See where what they've done. Now, when you talk to them, you're not talking out of turn. Okay, I know you got 8,000 of them. Well, send them something that invites them to something that you're offering for free. Something like that. So now what you're doing is saying, I got 8,000 possible connections that'll help my business. And I says, now listen, we know that people respond at about a 19 to 20 some odd percentage rate. I said, so let's see if I got this right. Out of 8,000, you might get, if I do my math right, 1,600 plus that might respond to your thing. I says, now, if you do some other stuff, put them all into your, whether you're going to run a Facebook ad, because remember, Facebook ad will allow you to bring in, hey, would you like to bring in some contacts that you want us to go and find? Yes, I would, Facebook, and you now are running ads to them along with your other potential demos. Yes. And now they've heard you for the first time. Hey, I got this email from this guy. Who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is. Right. And then now next, they see ads everywhere. So, how's he following me? Well, power of Facebook. And then Google, boom, you're running more ads. So now they're getting to know you, like you, trust you, more familiar with you. So when you roll something out, you're not fresh. You didn't roll up in the car, give me a kiss. You didn't roll up and just get married. I don't know you. They now know you. And they keep seeing your stuff and they go, well, who is this guy? And they look you up. They see, oh my God, he's doing so much, or she's doing so much stuff to help people. And the next thing you know, you've built a relationship. So you finally find the thing that they like. And it's a product, it's a book, it's an ebook, it's a newsletter like John and I. It's something. And they go, well, let me check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you say, well, wait a minute. If my spreadsheet told me I had to make 16 phone calls, and of those 16 phone calls, I had to close X to run my business, now, like your friend, you wouldn't be done with business. You would be excited by it because now you know what to do. I would have loved to have gotten a hold of that guy or the young lady you were talking about and says, okay, well, let's build a way that you can stay interested in business. What is it that you were looking for per month for the business to do for you? Right? Whether it's money or meaning, doesn't matter. Right? And then let's start with that and go build the framework for how to get to that. Let's go to LinkedIn. Okay, not your page. Who has a lot of people? Call them up. DM them. Hey, I see that you got 80,000 people that know and like and trust you. Can I give you $300 to put this ad in front of them for you to run this on your pages for the next month?
Are you playing music?
I was looking up some basketball stuff, and apparently one of the things that showed up, some music behind the thing showed up. But so you see what's happening is that I got distracted, but I came right back. In business, you get distracted, but then you come right back. So, but that's what's possible, right? So that's the structure and style of how to go out and get the business to do for you, right? The relationship to respond to you. Go out and give it the things that it's asked for, right? The thing that you built a relationship on. Well, that person says, Don't do this. Make sure I got a couple money. I want some security. If it's a one, whatever it is. And the man says, well, the things I like, just make sure you continue to do those things. That's that give and take. And once you stop working, then the relationship will break up and the business will break up with you as well. But these little things, John, that you might not know, that's why you listen to what we're talking about when we come on here every week, right? Is we mastermind on these things. And this angle is the relationship angle, but it's so relevant. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, man. And these are things that as a business strategist, and consultant, this is stuff that when I present it to others, what I also do is I say, here's some things I need to do over in my business too. Am I helping enough people with this information first? And if I do that enough, right, then you build your brand with what people say about you, right? They say, man, this every time I talk to Randy, it's just moments. Every time I talk to John, man, the guy just gives me perspective. He just gets me back on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? He inspires me and encourages me, and then shows me that after the inspiration and the motivation or whatever it is, here are the steps. All right. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff. That's the work part of it. Seeing it, applying it, or seeing it, sharing it, applying it into your own business. That's the kind of stuff that is right there in front of us, everybody. But will you do the work? Will you do the work? That part, that John, we can't, and you might agree, we can't do anything for will the person do the work. We heard that in so many different ways, right? You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep.
And you're like, but this horse has got to get me across the desert. So they got to drink. I used to say, my horse is drinking. If I have to turn him upside down and pour water in his mouth. But that is so true when we're working with the entrepreneurs. Can't make them drink. Can't make them do the work. That part's up to you. How can we inspire you today to do the work? Can we show you a tip that you didn't see? One step. You know what I mean? So John, I know we talked about 40 minutes here, man. We got a couple of things to work on after we get off here, guys. We launched our newsletter, and we went on vacations, and we kind of got married and started ignoring it. No. Now, what we were doing is literally planning out, testing it. We're doing some pre-validation. This is what we do in business. We do some pre-validation, see if it works, right? And then we develop our style, because you don't always know sometimes how you're going to work your business. What does the business need? Right? Well, the business needs oxygen, it needs fuel. In other words, it needs cash and it needs profits, right? So this is something that you'll see coming through. And we're even thinking about pitching the newsletter. We want to hear what you think about that. We're thinking about pitching the newsletter, the approach, and what John and I have been doing. I ask some of the hard questions. John answers them. I say, well, what makes it so special? And so, well, most people are this and that. And so I'm trying to now take that narrative and say, okay, how could I pitch it in a way that seems exciting enough where they go, yeah, we'll send you to the next round. Can we say something exciting about it? Knowing what we know about the pitch part of it, right? And that's what we're developing now. We're going to continue to run it out there, get some more people to our subscriber list, get some more people excited about the things we're talking about. And you'll see more of that when we come in. But anyway, John, I've talked enough, man. What are some things that you want to share relative to what we were talking about, man, that just brings it home for everybody out there, especially with this will you do the work part? We see it all the time, don't we?
We do. And it amazes me. It simply boggles my mind, because someone will sit at a desk for 40 hours a day and do the work for somebody else, getting paid peanuts, but they won't do it for their own business.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. And going back to relationships, the number one thing in all of our relationship is time. Time, 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 time.
Mm,
And
time.
so are you giving your business the time? And I don't mean that you're sitting there looking at your watch and you're multitasking
And
doing
letting time go by.
yeah, and
It's
letting
3.
time
I gotta
go
go.
by. You're actually doing something productive that's going to benefit your business. And it's the things that need to be done,
Mm,
because we can do the things that we like to do all day
I
long,
like that.
but are they the things that need to be done?
That's a prioritization.
Hmm.
Doing the things that need to be done. That is so critical, John. I'd love to interject there, but I'd probably talk too long. Needing to be done. I think Peter Drucker talked about that. He says, do is I can't remember the actual quote. Doing the right things versus doing the right things versus doing things or something. I can't remember the actual quote, but he talked about that in your business. When you sit down in front of it, how do you ask yourself what needs to get done? What is the right thing that needs to be done right now, or something like that? Right? Prioritization. How do you do that, John? How do you sit down? You're pretty good at it. I'll call John sometimes and John says, "Look, man, I'm working." Right? He don't say it that brutally, but that's in essence what he'll say by not responding. Is I'm concentrating. I have the work that I have obligated myself to do, so I need to do it. And I'm not allowing anything in where I'm like, texting, 10 times a day saying, "Hey man, I need some answers on this." How do you concentrate and know that right thing to do and then just pursue it to the end? What are some of your strategies?
So I think the most important thing is, what is the goal? What is the goal you have in your mind? Because if you don't have a goal in mind, then you'll look for ways you'll to be distracted. It's
Mm,
kind of like this. You go to school, I don't know, but we all had those boring classes that we half paid attention in. And
yeah.
it was like you welcomed any type of distraction because you were so bored out of your mind.
Mm,
Um, but first you have to know the goal. Why am I doing this? And is it just to fold my hands and twiddle my thumbs, or is it to actually accomplish something? And if you have that in your mind, the thing that you want to accomplish, and then you have to set actionable steps to do that. Well, knowing my personality, what are how do I prevent myself from going off the rails and not focusing? So you have to start putting things in your life that allow you. It's kind of like this. If you love Oreo cookies, but you overeat Oreo cookies, you don't keep Oreo cookies in the house.
right.
You know what I mean? You,
You
you
get rid
put
of them.
right. You put things, systems in place, and it's the same thing. The reason that I put the systems in the place is, hey, you know what? I'm focusing on this at this time. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I want to be doing.
Mhm.
It means that I know in order to be successful, I have to segment my time and I have to give full attention to these things. And in what I do in the carrot that I throw out there is, I cannot move on to the next thing. I can't do the things that I want to do until I do the things that I need to do.
Mm. Need versus wants. We tell our kids that I want this. I told my little one, she saw a jump. We were on a walk and she saw a jumbo gym or something. Jumbo gyms, do they even have those? In somebody's yard. And she says, "I need one of those." I said, "You don't need anything." right. Right. I says, "You don't need it." So are you saying, okay, let's see if I get this right. It's going to be the thing that helps you breathe? No. Is it going to be the thing that keeps food in your belly? No. Well, you don't need it. You know, you, Water is going to be something that's going to help you. No, then you don't need it. I said, you want it. I says, now if you want it, what are you willing to do to get one?
Are
What
you
are you
willing to
willing to
make
do?
yourself uncomfortable, do the uncomfortable things
Right.
to get there? If you want the jumbo gym, are you willing to go door to door and selling candy bars,
Ooh,
for the next 3 months in order
yes.
to save up enough money to buy the jumbo gym? I mean, we have to think about this in terms of, is it something that I truly want, or is it something that I want but I don't want to do work? Because I think that's what a lot of people who start businesses do, is they're like, I want this and that, but I'm not willing to do that
Right.
to get there.
I had an entrepreneur call me up, and I'm going to look at his text. Um, and he wants to meet me with me next week because, like he says, I'm having trouble. How do you put it? Um, and I just dropped some. He says, I'll schedule a meeting with you next week, um, to go over some plans I'm having trouble executing. And my response to him was just focus, focus, focus. Right? Those plans are executable, but if you don't, and I got the three things I told another guy I work with last week, right? I says there's only three things that can go wrong when you're starting an opportunity, right? You don't know what to find, right? You can't focus on it, and you don't finish. So I call it focusing, finding, focusing, and finishing. And then he, went on social media and started putting stuff out there. It's like, oh man, another tip from Randyism. He's been able to start putting these Randyisms out here. But I says that's really what it is about. The finding, and the focusing on it, and then the finishing. So in this guy's case, I'm saying just focus. Just focus. You've built some things already, right? That I've been helping them out with. And I says now you got some momentum. You're seeing that people will come to it. If you build it, they will come, kind of thing. I said now you have to focus on that next step. And then I just kind of went on to talk about some other things. I said, what specifically? And he said, well, I want to build this, I want to build that, I want to build this. I says, well, how about building the first things first, right? And then putting that into an automated series, however you decide to. And I says, now here's another thing that I was inspired, me personally, I was inspired by it. I share with them. I says, I'm reading a book called The Who, Not the How, right? Who can help me with this versus how do I get this done? And in the book, the guy is talking about when you ask who, you got hope. When you
Mhm.
ask how, you may not know how. But when you ask who, they may bring the how. And
And
that's the key thing, right? Who can help me with this? And that's why I told him, who can help you? Here's, just kind of a list of things.
so the other thing too is I want people to be cognizant of is that there's something that you're truly passionate about in your life, from exercising to, I don't know, hunting, whatever. People have different things that they're, but think about the time and energy you spend at that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, I see, working out is a huge thing right now, and actually I used to work out. My father growing up would get us up at 5 in the morning and lift weights at starting in fifth grade, and do push-ups and setups and all that stuff. And actually I was pretty strong, and I would compete as I got older in weightlifting competitions, but not many people know that, and I don't look like it now. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I remember at 5 in the morning, at 11 years old, crying in the basement, saying, "I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it anyway." And we have to think about our business like that.
Mm.
Just because you see Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whoever it is that you idolized or whatnot, and you're in awe of their gift and talent, it doesn't mean that they're not sweating blood at other times in their life, that they're putting hours and time and doing things that nobody else wants to do to be that good. And it's the same thing in business. It's like, are you willing to get up at 5 in the morning? Kobe Bryant was what, he was shooting free throws by 6 o'clock every morning, right? That was his thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
when everybody else was
That
coming home.
means he got up earlier than that.
Right. So everybody else was coming home from, their night out, and Kobe was in the gym shooting free throws, and he was doing the things that nobody else wanted to do, even at that level, doing the things that nobody else wanted to do. That is the difference maker. And that,
National champion, national champ, 5 rings,
Mhm.
5 rings.
Yep. I
That,
mean, that's it. I mean, you look at that.
rest
Look,
in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace. But I mean,
absolutely. But but
that's the work.
but what I'm saying is, Kobe Bryant was driven, and he knew what it took to be what he wanted to be, the success that he wanted to be, and he did it. See, we all know what we want to be to some certain extent, you know, but we don't do it. Do you know what I mean? What it
We
takes.
don't do the work.
We don't
Yes.
do what it takes to get there. We're not as driven. We're not we're not as passionate. I don't know, but you're lying to yourself if you say, "Oh, I really do care about this," but you're not willing to sacrifice. You're not willing to, sweat blood at times. You're not willing to do the things that nobody else is willing to do.
Right. I love that, man. It's so good. So apropos, right? Do look at people's actions, what they do, not what they say.
Mhm.
Right? Look at what they do. I used to love doing that when I was working in helping people get jobs. Walk me through your 8-hour day. Walk me through your day. And I'd start hearing nothing that had to do with getting work. So with the business owners and entrepreneurs, I'll do some of the same things. Walk me through. Tell me about your day. If I hear, well, I got up. I don't care if you're getting up later. That's fine. But once I got up, I did this, this, and this. What I hear is I got up, and not to say that you don't have to do these things. I got up. I took the kids to school. And so now you got things interrupting your momentum. I says, well, what if you got up at 5 and you got good, 3-4 hours of work before you did that?
Yep.
Would that help? Would that get you to your goal? Because you don't go in and say, well, stop taking kids to school. No, you don't do that. Right. I got up, I had breakfast with my wife or something like that before she went to work. Okay, well, back up a little bit. Right? Not the other way, not the stay up later stuff. That doesn't work and it doesn't help you. It really doesn't, right? Because you're tired. But if you get up nice and fresh, right? I did this morning. I got up and I was dragging butt until I jumped in a cold shower. It ended all that. Little things, right? I was no longer, because that shower, man, had me like, whoa, because I'll put my hand up because it's cold, right? And the next thing you know, you're warm. But my point is, it gets you smiling, it gets you breathing. You see my point? And I'm willing to do that so I can wake up to do the interview without, my words being slurred, or something, because I'm awake and I didn't have to get coffee. I didn't have to do this, that, and the other. I used this one thing that was not, pleasant, if you will, until it is pleasant, right? Because now I look forward to the cold showers. I look forward to the way it makes my skin feel, all that. I love the way it makes me wake up, right? What if we use these kind of tactics, everybody, right? And then you knew what you had to achieve. You've got your LinkedIn stuff. So I'm bringing this all back. You've got all the stuff I got to make and send out an email. I don't care if you send out one email and you went to each person's profile and that was your work to find out 5 of these. I got a lot to do. Well, I'm just going to go deep on the 5, figure them, understand them better so that it's not a cold call, but I'm trying to do something for my business. And businesses grow that way. Cold calls, cold emails still work. DMs work. Will you put in the work? If you listen to Gary Vee, he talks about it all the time. Will you send out 300 of these a day? Will you post 9 times a day? People, I'm not posting 9 times. I'm not posting 9 times a day. Would it help your business? Would it get you more known? Would it make you? Grant Cardone talks about it all the time. Will you 10x a situation? And oftentimes we will not. I'm afraid they're going to think I'm spamming them. I'm afraid. Look, your business, you should be more afraid of going out of business,
Mhm.
right? And this is something that I do for myself. Everybody, look, I apply my own, my own stuff. And I said one day, it was about 2 weeks ago, I said, do not embarrass yourself by not putting in effort. And that says, don't embarrass us. Like, don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass your family by not putting in the effort to feed them. See what I mean? It's a little mental trick that you have to play with yourself sometimes. Do not embarrass your family by not going out there and exercising. Do not lose your legs so that they now have to push you around when they should be running off having fun for themselves. So get in shape. Do not put them in a situation where they have to worry about whether or not you're going to make it out of surgery because your heart blew up from too much cholesterol, blah, blah, blah. Don't. So that kind of pressure, right, on yourself is what's necessary to create that diamond in you. Anyway, let's get in. We know what we could be saying, John, and we want to inspire you guys every single week with this information. We're going to be talking about the crash of cryptocurrencies, but there's something that's not crashing. Work, putting in the work, right? When people, they're down 50%. Cryptocurrency market crashed by 50%. What's next? I'm just reading that. Well, okay. If you are in the business of buying on the low, well, you kind of go, that's just a part of the business. If you create a business around that, you write it off and you go buy at the low because it's a part of the work, right? You just lost $1 million, but you gained $1 million on basically smoke, and you didn't peel off. That's on you. I got this thing: 30 up, peel off; 30 down, write off. Right? But 30 up, peel off, put it in some other area. Let the rest ride. That goes up, another 30, boom. So you never are without the advantages of peeling off the growth. So you won't lose all of it, right? That's like the work. Right. And if it's business, John, what do? You go, oh, that was a low period. But we're in business to continue on. All right. And I hope that reaches everybody out there right now. I hope that reaches our friends, John, that listen to us. Uh, it reaches them in a way that they go, I can do this. I can do it right now. That's all we wanted to say with you guys. We got our 9 o'clock. Oh man, we got another one coming up, John. I put it on my calendar to work on the newsletter, for a little bit. And so we're going to go ahead and end today, everyone. Be inspired by this. Don't let your relationship fail with your business, right? Don't let your business break up with you. Do better, put more in. And John and I will be talking with you next time. We want to hear how it went. Talk to you then.